I think
No, we actually all said to stay and support you. Actually,
I'm gonna tear up here.
no, actually, I'm gonna nail.
No answer.
I like it, I didn't know how to sit on your lap.
We're a cozy group.
We are something, aren't we? Not really sure what, but.
Yours is just.
I've been to one of them. The first one. Yeah, it wasn't Chico, it was the first one.
The roads are pretty gnarly, or they say were this morning.
She's gonna stay with us in June.
Eat that.
I haven't heard.
I've actually done construction training.
It was really hot.
So then they said, wait,
I missed that.
It was really hot.
I said, that's the back of the house in January.
Kind of hovers about 115.
It's like 3 feet. I can't use that. So you're like, not really.
It is, yes. Sage as death.
This is me, from the Great Lakes. And everybody there to see me. It's a good one. I agree.
Who's here?
Is there a player paid for it?
I did write numbers down.
Did you get my email to Missouri about hockey?
Rise for pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll open up the meeting with public comment. Is there any public comment? If not, we will move on to the business at hand, signing the finalizing papers for the Billings Clinic, Redwater Hospital District Board.
I'm gonna walk you through the documents. I don't know if we wanna open it as a joint meeting of the hospital district board.
I guess, we have a quorum here at our board. We have, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is John Ingles here?
No.
No. We have 4 of our 5.
So the documents that are here are the same as the documents that you all received Monday morning. So what you have on the table here are 2 originals of each document. If anyone wants additional copies, I have additional copies on the table over there against the wall. So I'll just walk through it briefly. The first one is the acknowledgement of payment and discharge of promissory notes. This one is actually only signed by the county commission. And it is acknowledging there were a couple of old promissory notes that came up on the title report that had to be resolved, and those are listed in A and B on page 1. So I don't know if I've communicated with all of you on that, but those are discharged, and I have the record of that. The second document is the actual purchase and sale agreement. And so this one will be signed by the hospital district and by THS on a vote. And so the short version is that it's the sale of, there's 3 real estate properties that are involved here. This is the sale of 2 of them. One is basically most of block 15, which is the hospital itself and the property surrounding it, or the real estate property underneath it, and then Lot D, which we refer to generally as the old Grover building. And then it does not sell or transfer Lot B, which we call the old ambulance building. That's the option agreement, which we'll talk about in a minute. So the consideration, the price for that is repayment of the registered warrants amount, in addition to the hospital district's finding that the commitment by Billings Clinic to acquire and run and improve Townsend Health Systems is basically the discharge of the hospital district's duty to provide public health for the Broadwater County. So that document is, upon execution, I believe we're looking next Wednesday or Thursday, the 13th of November for closing. At that point, then all of that real property will transfer to THS and, upon payment of the warrants. I can go into more detail if you want, but that's generally what it is. So that one would just by THS and by the hospital district. The option agreement is also THS and the hospital district. And this is Lot B, the ambulance building. It's not transferred to THS because of the contamination that we're all aware of. So it gives THS Billings Clinic the option to purchase that property in the future on two conditions. One, after cleanup through the environmental remediation program is complete, and then two, at a fair market value as appraised at the time. There is a difference, this document's different from what the version we had last week, not Monday, but last Thursday, in that it does give the hospital district the authority to assign the building, or the property, and the option to the county. And then the county would still fulfill those obligations of cleanup, et cetera. And the county would accept that property subject to the option, meaning you could still sell it, but you would still first have to do an appraisal and give Billings Clinic the first option to purchase it at fair market value. They're not required to. They can say, we're not gonna exercise our option. So the thing that's unique about that is that it encumbers the property basically with an option, which is a little different than how the county would ordinarily dispose of property. And then the last two agreements are the termination of the investment and loan agreement. And so, as I explained Monday, when we did the loan and the registered warrants, there was a second option for another $250,000. So these two documents will end and not allow that second option to be exercised. So one of them is a termination of loan, and that's signed by the hospital district and THS, termination of loan agreement. The second one is the termination of the investment agreement, and that's signed by the county commission and the hospital district. And both of those contemplate the payment of the balance of the warrants. Our intention is that those documents will be received and upon payment of the warrants next week at closing. So that's it. I can go into more detail if need be, but that's what we're trying to accomplish today.
So we would have the hospital district approve and sign these two, the option agreement and the purchase and sale agreement, or that's hospital district board, the commissioners don't sign either one of those,
That's correct.
that paper.
The two that the commission would sign would be the termination of the investment agreement and the discharge of the promissory notes.
Okay.
So however you want to, order-wise, however you want to do it.
Should we sign 2 copies of each so that we have an original and the district board has an original?
Yeah, so there's 2 originals of each. We'll have to send them to other party for originals, but ultimately, each entity will keep an original signed agreement.
Okay.
We have a notary here
We do, yeah.
And doesn't it have to be recorded with the county? Is that a different one or not?
So there's a couple of these that are not recorded. The acknowledgement of discharging promissory notes should be recorded. The purchase and sale, the purchase and sale is not gonna be recorded because the closing document next Wednesday is the one that will actually be recorded, showing the transfer of the property.
As I understand it, that closing will be done at the Rocky Mountain Title Company in Helena.
I believe that's
And
right.
at that time, the hospital, the THS will give us a check for the balance of warrants and we'll hand over a warranty deed.
So they'll actually pay the county, because the county holds the warrants.
Oh, they'll pay it won't go through us.
Yeah, no, we pay the district pays the warrant.
That's the way,
Okay, that's right.
the way it's been.
Because you have the
But I wanna have that
registered
straight. I wanna have that straight. The check is made out to the district.
Correct.
Yes.
All right.
And
Then I'll hand over the check to our registrar of warrants, Vic, who takes it to the county.
That's right, you guys, yeah, you have a process set up there, I had forgotten about that. All
And
that
then,
normal
then the
process.
county gives us the warrants.
Correct.
All right. All right, I got that straight. In other words, we don't, we we get the check first. That's our rule, all right.
So you can't run off to Mexico.
Judy and I spend an afternoon up there signing warrants.
Okay.
So you wanna just take one at a time, Mike, or what do you wanna do?
Yeah, let's have the hospital district sign the ones that they have to sign, and then we can do all of ours.
That's fine with me. Yeah, I don't need one signature on those.
Purchase and sale,
Go ahead.
you guys wanna do a motion?
Corey, which of these have to be notarized? Signatures have to be notarized.
It's the two terminations, I believe. I believe
Okay,
the
so the
district.
ones that the commissioners,
Corey,
correct?
should we previously authorized either you or I to sign, but should we go ahead and have a vote?
I agree.
I don't feel it's necessary.
Just
These
dot the
documents are
i's.
specifically mentioned in what they're authorized.
I understand.
If you feel more comfortable, we do that.
Why don't we do that?
All right. Do I hear a motion to authorize me to sign these documents?
I will move that we accept
And this
those.
termination agreement.
Moving.
All
Do
the
we have a
stuff
second?
is all hospital.
Any discussion?
Nice,
All right.
easy.
Moved in second, no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
This is for all the documents or individually?
Oh, okay.
That was just for the buy-sell.
So,
Yeah, so the buy, sell, and the option aren't requiring notarization.
No.
Just wanna make sure that,
I
at
think
the last moment, somebody isn't using
I know that resolution
All
can-
right. There's this one. Do we have 2 copies of that?
Yep.
Purchase and sale agreement.
And then I think you've got sign and read on disclosure.
All right. And then the mold disclosure. We gotta check on these. Seller has no knowledge. And seller has knowledge. Do I have no, personally, I have no knowledge. I didn't ask anybody there.
Yeah, basically, it's, the disclosure is
I know what the-
that all properties have molds.
All right.
So you're to check. Yeah, you can check the top one.
Top one?
Yep. And on number 3 as well.
All right. And this- what is today? I didn't date the front of that one there. I'll do it. This is 6th. All right. Okay, now, you want, should we do purchase and sale agreement, we don't have to do that with these commissioners. Should I hold that till later?
Well, we wanna do both of these are two originals.
Okay.
So then we'll,
Oh, that's right. All right. There's 11 pages to that. Yeah, 11 pages.
there you go. Could bring a chair, you want a chair?
That's all right.
So Charlie,
There's a lot of paper. So there's on that one.
So it's going on good. So,
Sailing around.
census
This
up.
is very high, yeah. Only got one bed left.
If I'm born again, I'm gonna come back with the name that's not so long.
so who is that position?
Today?
Well, is it bigger than everything?
No. We've still got the same ones that we've had for a while, Jill and Greg. And then up in the clinic, we're rotating through some people.
All right,
Good. So next is the option.
all right.
I don't have that card either. Dr. George.
So this, so you're gonna have to make a motion on each one of them.
You might be in charge of the original.
Get a copy of that one.
We all are. Stability ready to.
Okay, these are both done?
Yeah.
This is the termination of the investment
All right, I
agreement,
know that one.
and then she'll notarize.
All right. Second page is my signature. That one requires a notary.
He's there already. I think they wanted to talk to him. I don't know if that was today or.
Yeah, I know we booked, we're gonna book them around. No, yeah, it was tonight.
I think we're just. I hope it's at the meeting. That's why my dog is married people to.
Yeah, no, it is, because I was gonna book rooms there for a couple of it, so we and I.
Do you want my ID?
Thought about going, it was too much on our
Yep.
plate.
Is there, sections for the rest stuff or?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, there's a little bit, but it's more.
That's all of it.
You guys will fill us in on what we're going through.
All right, do an initial Roman here.
Yeah, that's right.
So what kind of food do you? Doesn't the 101 go like that?
Is it considered non-thing? Not reservation?
Northwest, right?
It's my daughter.
You said northwest? Just north, straight north. Scottsdale. Desert Ridge. Little Manhattan. West of Scottsdale.
What's your physical address here?
The address is 35 River Road. more.
Okay. And I'll have you sign both spots there then, and I'll fill those.
All right. All right. Lots of paper. Okay, that's all I've got, isn't it?
I think so.
I think so.
Oh, no.
You wanna wait till they all
Well,
sign?
there'll be separate
We
spots.
still haven't got rid of the building
I
yet.
don't think there is.
Well, I know about that. We have to get the people out
We're getting
first.
closer though. We're getting closer.
And he is the chair.
Did we date all those?
We'll have to do that. That's investment.
This is, it's confusing. Selling property by so everyone
And whoever else has to sign those.
Okay, so that's done for the hospital district, so now we have the termination of the investment agreement and the discharge of promissory notes for the county commission. And then we need the appropriate person from THS for the option agreement, purchase and sale agreement, and termination of both. Are you guys gonna do that now or at a different
We can
meeting?
do that now.
Okay, now? You bet, sure.
So do we have a motion, can we have a motion from the commission to sign these first?
Yes.
So can we get a motion to sign the termination of the investment agreement and the acknowledgement of payment
Whatever you
and
want.
discharge
Blue,
of
black.
promissory notes?
Sure, also move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the termination of the investment agreement and the acknowledgement of payment and
Okay.
discharge of promissory
Or you
notes.
wanna go with it?
Is there any further comment? Without, take a vote, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, same. Motion carries.
Yeah, so those you can date.
We'll smile and look at you. Even, Mrs.
There must be a
Bauer
date
wants some cookies.
someplace.
I'm,
Cookies inside, or
Right there.
should pass them around.
This is a 6, 7.
somebody said champagne, but I thought.
I think it's a six.
It is a six, yeah, six.
What was that?
I said I almost brought some.
Spot, there was a spot for you, Ann.
I said,
Did you bring the chili dog?
No, I did not.
I said, Jeff, we go to the class. What did you do? I said, it's a hospital.
There's a lot of.
Oh,
Another for you.
thanks for your vote of confidence.
Yeah, we accidentally told him that you were calling, working at the, all of us signed those, right?
Yeah.
Coming down.
Oh, Connie.
Oh, those.
I don't.
I didn't turn it on for
We turn all the time. We have to.
The three board members.
Option agreement. You have to notify.
That one needs to be.
The other one, I think, is foundation for us.
There's actually three pages.
Is there three?
There's that, there's the agreement, then there's a couple of disclosures.
Oh, you're right, you're right.
Just a matter of setting it up.
Sherry's gonna have it with all signed her little book too.
Time block is. Because there's gonna be so much, that's known on the clinic side that they can't say, yeah, there's so much that we wanna know.
So you can actually keep one of those.
Talk a word about it.
I don't have a signature page here.
There's more to
The
that.
two over there? These are the ones.
Yep. Yeah, these three.
This is, this is the one I was looking for next.
Yeah.
Broadway and to courthouse. So from commercial to the ambulance building. Of all of the businesses.
Is it time?
74, so it was kind of fun to run through.
That was the Helena, the Historical Society?
No, I think that's a great idea, because it
Tell them to
can spread it around. Helps everybody. Or if you were, there's a couple.
I never think about it because it's not on the main drag.
Mine on this one too? Yes, so. It's because they're out of that loop. You get down to here. The ambulance building is kind of down.
Okay.
I remember they were there. I didn't know which building they were in. So it's kind of fun because we were able to roll it out.
So much possibility.
And then Sherry, do you wanna, are you gonna do one of those, a stamp on this one? I think that's it. Thank you. So you guys keep one and, oh, okay, gotcha.
Hasn't been notarized yet.
Well, then I'll let you have that one.
This hasn't been notarized yet. This one hasn't been signed yet. She's gonna have a letter scrapped by the time she gets there.
two. Okay, so you guys can keep this original. I'll take this one for the district.
When we get a time, a date and time for the close, we should probably come in.
Now, this is the one that needs to be recorded, these two that need to be recorded.
You don't have to.
Darn it, I just gave you the wrong document. Oh, sorry. Let's start over.
It's better to be right.
We won't, yeah.
I need it on my gun. I expect that they can be trusted for $544,000. We'll go to check and put in the bank account. He said
You can trust me,
He
you
said
can trust
420.
me, 420. 500, it'd be risky.
So you kept it.
420.
Okay, there's this. Brad, do you have your ID with you? Do you have a driver's
He doesn't, we just use mine.
Negative.
This problem is these are both 5 pages. These two go together.
While we're waiting, is it okay to be around the 19th? Start the discussion of the contract? Say noonish, one-ish? Is that a preference? One, okay?
No, I didn't.
If they want a different time, are you good later on in the afternoon?
I'll have to get them back because these two have one more.
What time, on 19?
We'll start at noon, at 1, and see what works for them.
What day is that?
I think it's Tuesday?
Tuesday?
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna go get my ID, I have a feeling it might be needed.
They asked, are we gonna go to their office or here? Okay. Okay, I know they asked if we wanted to, so that's why.
Yeah. And I'll invite Sharon as well.
Yes.
She's involved.
Where is that, by the way, their office?
It's over on the other side of the lake, just on
Is
the other side of
it
the
at
property.
Canyon Fair?
Oh, in Canyon Ferry Village?
No,
Or,
it's a little bit further, towards us, just over the county line.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, if you're not familiar, where is that? Do you know what's that, Mike?
Yeah, it's down by the dam.
So, yeah, we're gonna go to that.
Yeah, pretty sure. Canyon Ferry Village, or whatever they were, where they do the
Just asked.
AIS,
Yeah, right there in the middle of town there, yeah.
invasive species washdown, I think.
Okay.
So we're all complete. Sharon's just finishing the notarization on last document. And,
You know, we have, I know we have the closing, what day are we trying to go do that next week? Is there
They're
next
trying
week?
the 13th,
The
that's what I
13th.
understand.
And then the, I have a bunch of other documents listed that have not been signed, and I'm not sure what the status on those is. So who's gonna be in charge of seeing that they're signed?
Stuff that's signed. I have a bunch of other original documents in a binder if you want me to put them in with
Well,
that.
Certificates of both, you've got, Crowley Fleck had a whole bunch of them listed. I can go in with you, you don't have to be here.
Can we make a statement before we adjourn the
Certainly.
joint meeting? With the, it is our intention that the hospital district to continue to operate even after the sale of the hospital. And we believe that there is still a need for the hospital district because the mission is not to operate a hospital, it's to, ensure we provide good health care in the county. Hugh and I and some of the other board members discussed the fact that we are gonna have two medical entities at least for some time in the county. And there is still a place for the hospital district to work with those entities, not to maintain their buildings anymore, but to work with them to provide affordable healthcare in the county. For instance, shingles vaccines are extremely expensive, and maybe we can work with them to make it affordable for people who can't afford to get shingles, to help with the ambulance services, things like that. So I would like the commission to consider keeping our two mills in place going forward.
Thank you. Is there any other?
Well, I guess, when are we gonna have that discussion?
Well, as I mentioned last week, soon after this is all closed, I'd like to have a hospital district board meeting where we'll sit and talk about what do we want to do, what would we use the money for, what are our needs. Wide open discussion. Sooner that you know when it happens. And
Yeah,
I would guess within probably two weeks or something after the close. Not that it's urgent, but we'll get it done. You know, I will not feel good about spending any money until the remediation is pretty well gone and done. I don't trust anybody to say, okay, it's gonna be free, and then somebody gives you a bill for $100,000. So I don't think we wanna have to be in a hurry to spend it.
And we do have to have a definition of what we will be doing going forward. But I just wanted to put that thought out there and at least have the commission consider continuing with two
Yeah,
mills.
I guess another question that's on my mind is, and it relates with the hospital, is how we're gonna continue to run our ambulance service.
As I understand it, there'll be no change.
I guess I wanna know that for sure, and we need to have that discussion.
Oh, well, I didn't need to exercise myself on the stairs.
I think we need to have that discussion so that we know going forward what everybody's role is gonna be.
I
Okay,
agree.
okay.
On the acknowledgement page, just right here.
Oh.
Sorry.
Do you want to scribble out that out?
That's great.
Okay.
Okay, my girl, get two spots. There. Sorry.
Do you need an ID?
That's all right. That's it.
You need an ID?
We've done this before. You've become, and then right there for you.
Do I?
And then Daryl there, and then the page before.
So my name's spelled wrong. That could be a problem.
You know, I think,
And then back up one page. Oh,
There's one here. Did you do this one?
yep.
I'm definitely gone Monday.
I actually have some friends that get our meeting there, we have a slide party on the 16th. I'll be down there. I don't know.
So there's another one?
Find out where they're-
No, that must.
Just those
that's
two?
the other, yep.
I'm gonna get their,
Thank you.
college and they're out.
So if we're all done with that,
thank you.
done on the agenda, so
Thanks for
we
noticing.
will adjourn at 2:30, whatever that is, 7. Meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, you
Thank you,
guys.
folks.
Laura,
Vic.
Missouri Valley Marketing.
Yeah,